Now look, I'm not one to use this word evil a lot, but it's the only way to explain how somebody can think it's a good idea to go and kill innocent people. Now you can think about whatever you want. You can say, well, maybe it's video games, because we always love to attribute it to something. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's psychiatric medication that they were on. How about the millions and millions of people who watch violent video games, who are on psychiatric medication? They don't kill anybody. There's 332 million Americans in this country, and they've got guns, and they've got knives, and they've got cars, and they've got jobs or no jobs. This doesn't happen. But we always have to try to attribute something to it, and it's got to stop. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, a word from our sponsor. Noble Gold Investments have made it their mission to stay on top of the most important economic news. 3 bank runs in the last month. And these are the second largest and third largest runs in history. The government is taking steps to guarantee all deposits, and that means more money printing. Plus, the Fed is sitting on unrealized losses of approximately $1.2 trillion on their $8.3 trillion bond portfolio. And the Fed will continue to raise interest rates even if they tank the economy. Do you know who are the only ones not afraid? The ones that are invested in gold with Noble Gold Investments. Gold is the most stable asset outside of any government control. Thousands have approached Noble Gold Investments to get their hands on gold. Hurry and go to noblegoldinvestments.com to secure your wealth now. Bag a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with each gold or silver IRA if you qualify. noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. And remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. Now, I know everybody wants to know why things happen. Why? All my life, my generation, people were telling me that long-haired music's going to make people go on drugs. Why? Well, because the people on drugs listen to the long-haired music. They also drive cars. Well, also, it was marijuana. Marijuana was the gateway drug. This is in the 60s and 70s. It's what they did first. And I always thought to myself, can you imagine meeting somebody who's let's say, a heroin addict, who never, ever, ever was involved in drugs? I mean, marijuana, I should say. That would make no sense, because they're in drugs, they're in heroin. You know what I mean. Can you imagine that? Yeah, I mainline heroin. But smoke a joint? Oh, no. Not for me. Of course they have. That didn't cause them to use drugs. That wasn't the reason. It was contained. It was a reason for that. It explained a lot of things. Do you understand how this works? It explained a lot of things. Now, I don't have to tell you this, and I'm going to try my best to explain something to you, okay? America is different because we use guns differently. We have regular crimes with guns. We have regular robberies and burglaries and sexual assaults and regular murders, second-degree heat of passion, manslaughter, catching somebody's spouse in bed, the usual stuff. I'm sorry to say this. But when it comes to people using guns specifically for, let's say, school shootings and the like, it's a little bit different. Now, if you go down the stats and you look at countries like El Salvador and Honduras and U.S. Virgin Islands and Venezuela and Honduras and other countries, Mexico, they've got more guns and shootings and murders than you can imagine. But what's the difference? The difference is that they do it because of crime or territory or drugs or turf or something along those lines. That's why they do it. That's the purpose behind it. That's the reason. That's it. Not because they've had a bad day. not because they weren't loved. They don't write, in these countries, manifestos and actually live stream their shootings. It's business. It's almost military. But not in our country. Oh, no. We have a variety of reasons. Because of our gender or non-gender. Because somebody, I guess, gave us a hard time. I don't even know. But it's not so much that we just do it. We do it and we plan it, and they write these long screeds, these disquisitions, these manifestos that are invariably, this is ridiculous, but they're invariably copied and published word for word by the media, thus promoting these lunatics. What is the purpose of this? And their name. Today I'm listening to this shoot. I don't even want to mention his name. He had a concussion. He worked here. He was on LinkedIn. I don't care. I don't care. Because what you're doing is you're guaranteeing the next soulless, vapid, attentionless sicko, and they're sick. You're guaranteeing them that this is what happens. You'll be in the pantheon of the shooters. Play your cards right. Leave a long manifesto. And depending upon your political orientation, it may or may not get published, if you know what I'm talking about. This is where we are right now. How many times do I have to tell you this? Now, I don't want there to be a law that mandates this, but the media should, on their own, agree once and for all not to do this. Don't print this. Don't do this. Don't show this. Don't have pictures of where he lived, usually a he, where they went to school, their friends, when they snapped. In the old days, it was always the neighbor, and the neighbor would talk about the killer. Loner kept to himself. And if you want to go into this, I heard a psychologist, quote unquote, talk about, well, I don't want to use the word evil. You don't? Look at Albert Fish. Remember him? Remember what he did? They called him the Brooklyn Vampire. Why do you think that was? Shall I go into detail? I'm not. How about Edward Heidnik? Excuse me. Do you remember Eddie Heidnik? Eddie Heidnik, if you remember, was one of the inspirations. Let me just get his. He was one of the inspirations, or one of the composites, for The Silence of the Lamb. Heidnik. Oh, I'm a serial killer. Gary. Did I call him Eddie? Sometimes he went by the name Eddie. Gary Heidnik. I can't tell you what he did. Now, why do you think he did it? Maybe he wasn't loved either. Maybe he was dropping his head. Ed Kemper, with an IQ of 145. You know what he did to his mother? Can't tell you what he did. I don't want to tell you now. Not here. No. Why do you think he did that? They're evil. They show a rage, a homicidal rage that transcends everything anybody has ever seen. It doesn't lend itself to usual, and they're the rarity. They're the rarity. Remember, 332 million people in this country with guns and poison and who watch video games. Other countries watch violent video games. We're always trying to find some cause and effect. It's evil. And evil people who are trying to go out with a bang, no pun intended, top of the world, ma, top of the world. I beg all media, everyone, to once and for all get it through your heads that what you're doing by virtue of these hagiographies is to encourage more of this demented behavior. I can't be any clearer than this, my friends. I can't be any clearer than this. So thank you for watching this. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. It's critical. And whatever you do, I ask you below to comment as you see fit.